Hello and welcome in to the SorareAndrews podcast brought to you by Sorare Data. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined almost always by Andy Black, who you can find as Black on Sorare. Today we are going to talk about cards we can't get rid of, but not because we can't sell them, or maybe we should sell them. Before we get into that, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I was before we started recording, I was just showing off to you for some purchases that I made that I'm feeling pretty good about. So if I'm a little positive now, that'll probably go away by the time we really discuss what's going on. But
okay.
Thank you to everybody who has joined us live here. I know it's a little late. I mean, for me, it's extremely late for if I was in Europe right now. There is no way I would stay up and watch this. But thank you for those who have taken the time to do that. I believe Misaki was the first one in, so well done. King Kaizan is here. Quinny still awake, well done. Predictology, I believe, is on the entire other side of the world, so maybe it's morning there. I don't know. But thank you to a bunch of people who have joined. Oh, Mike Baston here. How's that? All right. Thank you for that. We've got the Netherlands and Shriram pretending that he is first despite being like 17th or so. And Nick in the UK. So Nick, thank you for joining us. I know it's pretty late. So if you are listening to the audio version of this, meaning not live, and you're on Spotify, you can watch the video. It's available there. I think Spotify is the only one that allows that. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for doing that. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, even though there really hasn't been anything to like yet, but makes us feel good. The topic for today was, like I said, is waiting is not easy, which for those of you who are my age, maybe not my age, but who have kids who have around my kids' age and know who Mo Willems is, it was a tribute to that. But it's mostly about how we sometimes have to sit on cards for a number of reasons, and it's just absolutely brutal having to wait for these cards to be helpful. And it's a combination of I can't wait for this guy that I can use in lineups, or it's I can't, if something happened and the price dropped and you're like, I really don't want to sell for pennies on the dollar, so now I just have to wait until he comes back and the price goes up. Andy, when we were talking about this before, was there any one of your cards that jumped out and you were I know exactly what card I should talk about?
Yeah, Leon Bailey.
Ooh,
that's a brutal one because
yeah.
I bought a super rare right before, maybe not right before his move to Aston Villa, but it was a few months before or whatever, and that was it was a tough one because when he went, obviously I didn't think it was a great thing, but I didn't think he would be as bad as he was, and he was just constantly injured, out of the team.
Yeah.
It was more injuries, I feel like, than anything, because he had come into games and produced either getting assists or goals or whatever, but he just was never in the team.
Yeah, I feel like Bailey is an example of someone that a lot of the Sorare OGs had, because he was with Leverkusen, and there were a bunch of cards. I think he's got, let me see here, for a player that hasn't been minted in a while, 123 rares and 20 super rares.
Yeah, they got all the super rares up.
I guess so. But I mean, you can see he was a really strong U23 option back then. And then, yeah, it's just been brutal with Aston Villa. Do you still have the? Oh man, oof. I assume you still have it.
I do. I mean, I'm not going to sell the bottom. Is kind of where I'm at, and I have the depth to work around it. And the hope is that eventually he does make it back into that team, and I can either get rid of him or, I don't know, use him maybe.
Yeah, is he still U23? Oh, he's not. So you even lost. Oh man, that is a killer. Well, at least Champion Europe is easy.
Or maybe he'll go back down to a challenger team or something eventually.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I guess that's really got to be the hope, right?
Yeah, he's from Jamaica. Maybe he wants to come back home and be in the United States or something.
At least close enough. That's not actually.
Quick trip.
In classic Sorare fashion, we do have this wonderful Gary V. Peak middle finger graph on the Leon Bailey rare prices. There are obviously no limiteds because he moved before limiteds came into the platform. But that's a really good one that that's a really good example. So when did you say you got him? I guess we could look that up too.
Yeah,
Make you feel really good about it.
Yeah, probably somewhere. It's got to be somewhere around that peak. I mean, I can find it probably.
That's not so bad.
No, that's a rare.
Oh, that's right. You're the super rare, right?
Yeah. And so I think I still have the rare too.
So you were the original vertical stacker. Quinny stole it from you, huh? There's Black. Ooh. You might want to look away here. Let's see here. What was that? February 25th. Oh, you beat Sean.
Wow. That's fun. I'll bet he's like cheering that I won that.
He's probably very excited right now. Oh man, how about that?
Funny.
That's a funny.
Wild to go look back at.
So for those of you who are just listening, Andy won this auction on February 25th, 2021, which certainly sounds like a peak time. All right.
Peak boom.
And he outbid PSU fans too. A little Sorare Data podcast crime going on here. But anyway.
It looks like I lucked out. Somebody paid $4 from Pal Trader.
Yeah. See, Pavel always wins, man.
He always wins.
Simple as that.
Always.
Yeah, I think that's a really good example. Look at that. One went 25 days ago. I bet you got super excited when you saw that.
I didn't even look, and I won't. But you know what? I can build a fun Aston Villa stack here eventually. I mean, I've got Kamara, I've got Bailey. You know, I don't know who else is on the platform, but I'm sure I could go buy somebody. Well,
you're gonna be able to get Emi Martinez, the goalie, because I assume we'll get some Argentina cards.
Ah, okay.
So you got goalie. Kamara is a defender card.
Coutinho.
Do you have Coutinho?
No, but I'm sure he's expensive.
Only one way to find out. I agree that he's probably expensive, and
I don't know, maybe not. But then what am I going to do here?
I feel like this would be an appropriate development, given that you had so much success with this random West Ham stack. That, yeah, why not just go to Aston Villa now?
I guess I could.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Diego Carlos too is here. Yeah, I think you have to do it now.
Anybody out there with a Coutinho super rare, reach out.
Yeah, how many? Oh my gosh, there's only one.
Oh really? Wow.
Oh, Mark's got it. A former Liverpool player. Good luck on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Never know. But good luck anyway. So yeah, I think that's a great example kind of like what we were talking about, because we all have cards like this. That this is an example of like one that you got. Did he get hurt like soon after?
Yeah, he played like 3 games. In fact, I think he was hurt when he got to Villa, and then he played like 2 or 3 games, and then got hurt again. Or what is that? 6 games and got hurt again, and then like I think he might have come back like for a couple of like international games.
Right.
And he did well, like, but.
Oh wait, this is Coutinho. This isn't Bailey.
It's probably the same story for Coutinho too.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so you got February. I think, what did I just see here? That was game week 1. Let's call it 45, which is like right here. And he's struggled since.
Yeah. Not great, Bob.
But anyway, so you have these situations. I had one recently just like this, where I thought I was being so sharp. Andy, like I felt, you ever make a deal with someone and you're just, it gets accepted and you're like, I just absolutely robbed this person?
No.
Fair enough. That's what I had. And it was this guy named Augustin Almendra, who was at Boca, or he is at Boca.
But he's like not in the team, right?
Yeah, so he's a bit of a head case, it sounds like. This is one of those where like I I didn't know enough about the situation going in, but I was like, I know the guy. There are a few other people who own his cards whose galleries I kind of like are familiar with. And I'm like, if these guys have them, then they've done the research. Like doing my own research is making sure other people have done their research before they buy. And then I'm like, oh, okay. If they bought, then I'm fine. So he was like left out of the team for all of like the second half of the year, like January to, or whatever it was, however Brazil does it. But he was like, once the transfer window opened, it was like, he's going to get a move because he's not going to play there. He wants to play. The team wants to get something out of him, even if it's just a loan, like let him play. So there was one on the market and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go get one. And so I went out and I bought one from Super Usmane, who somebody asked me previously. So he buys galleries and sells. He's kind of a Pavel type deal, except he tends to have better inventory, I'll call it. So anyway, he had two of these Almendra cards. And I was like, oh man. So I put an offer in for one. He accepted that one. And then I was like, this guy, if he gets a move, could be like 4 times more expensive. Like, and I needed a summer U23 mid. He's young, so he's got 2 more years left. And I'm like, this is awesome. So I ended up putting an offer in for another one at the same price, which was immediately rejected, as it should have been. And then I believe he sold that one like a little bit later. So yeah, so mine was May 30th for 0.13. And later that day, he went for 0.25. And I'm like on top of the world because I'm like, I finally like got one. This is going to be great. I got a great price and he's going to like kill it for my SO5. And if you look at his scores, he still has not played. And people, I believe, are like, I think the price rise, I'm going to do this really depressing thing where I change to fiat. Oh, I guess it's up a little bit in fiat.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad. But it's kind of like, I'm not going to sell him now just because it's up. Like,
right.
I've recognized 0 SO5 utility, and the price really hasn't like risen that much. So now I'm just like sitting on this card, training him.
I think the hope is at some point something changes, and what that something is either the coach is like forgiving and gets him back in the team, or they, like you said, they loan him out. And once that something changes, I mean, realistically, nothing can change for the worse unless he just like quits the sport and doesn't want to play anymore. So
that would be really bad.
So like, there's no downside to just standing pat and sitting here, and then something will happen, and then likely the price is going to go up. Yeah.
So then I end up turning into like a different problem. And Maxime just joined us. So what's up, HG? Thank you for doing that. Also very late, although this is early for HG. So then I've done this before where I'm like, I look at a guy and I'm like, he's too cheap. I'm going to buy him now and I'll sell him when the news happens. And then I don't, because I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty valuable. And I was talking to you before we were live about Luis Maximiano. And Maximiano was a player that I had actually owned previously and had sold last year when he went to Granada. And I like doubled my ETH on that deal. I was like, this is great. And I recently rebought him for twice what I sold him for whenever it was. So I felt like I was behind, but also kind of maybe early. But so I bought Maximiano because I was like, he's too cheap. I was, you know what it was? I was using one of my watch lists. So I keep like a U23 watch list here. And what I do is I basically just sort it by floor or valuation. And I'm just like, who seems too cheap? Like, this is exactly what I did. And at the time, Maximiano was like just over an ETH. And he was still at Granada, but like it was clear he was going to go somewhere. And the links at the time were Napoli. And that was like, oh man, Napoli could be great. And then there was like the whole thing about Merit possibly staying and if they were going to split. And I think that kind of kept his price down. And it just seemed weird to me that he would go somewhere to not start. And I realize like people do that, but he just came off a whole season of starting. He was a backup in Portugal anyway. Went to Granada to be a starter. They get relegated. He's not going to stay there, and I'm like, he'll get a move somewhere. And if he starts, he'll be worth more. So he was on this list. I mean, he was like way down here. And I did the same thing with Nicholas Hadel. I don't know if it's Hadel or Heidel, but he was another one that was like, there was some, he got, I don't know if he got benched at the end of the year, but he got hurt, and then Paul Gartler was starting, and there was like some uncertainty about Hadel, and both of them, I was like, if they start, their prices go up significantly. And I happened to have sold a bunch of cards before that, so I had some ETH, and I was like, I've heard like a bunch of people talking about this. Nellis talked about it a ton. Now he was like, on his last show, his last So Far So Rare podcast. If anyone hasn't subscribed to that, definitely do. They had a whole conversation about somebody who sold his gallery, and he was like, I was sitting on all this ETH, and I didn't want to be exposed to ETH. I want like I play So Rare. I want exposure to So Rare cards, and that's kind of how I was feeling. That I was like sitting on all this ETH, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll just wait for Europe to start, and then I'll spend it all. But I was like, the way that ETH was moving, I was like, I might be better off buying cards, as weird as that sounds. So I happened to like time these guys all right. So I bought Maximiano, and then the talk about Lazio started, and it was like, he definitely starts at Lazio. Oh, and they have midweeks, and I am attempting to play U23 this year, and I have midweek outfield players. I have Van de Voort, who is not a midweek, and I have De Keyser, who's not midweek. So I'm like, I bought Maximiano because I'm like, he's too cheap, and I think I can sell him for a lot more if he gets this move. He got the move. The price is a lot higher, and I'm like, I actually think I need to hold this card.
Do
I have to wait to see.
Do you have outfield U23s that play in the midweek?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not.
Otherwise,
they're not great, but they're there. And some of them are okay.
I mean, midweeks is like, a roll of the dice a lot of the times. 5 starters, it depends a little bit. Is it is Champions League playing, whatever, but a lot of times it's roll the dice.
Right. And the midweeks,
they're in Europa, right? Or
what's that?
Are they in Europa or conference?
They're in Europa.
Okay.
And everyone who this is going to sound really mean, but I'm going to say it anyway. Everyone who didn't buy Maximiano or was like, he's not that good a buyer, like, oh, he won't play the midweeks. Like in Italy, the backup always plays the midweeks unless it's Champions League. It's like, we don't know this. Like, I'm willing to take this risk. So now I have this card that did exactly what I was expecting it to do. And I still think I have to wait because it's like, if I sell this card, now I need to go get a midweek U23 goalie. And the one I would probably buy is the one I'm selling, because the other ones are just so much more expensive. Like Ochoa, and I mean, they're just at the top of this list that I keep.
Your boss is saying you should sell.
I know.
You don't have to do everything he says.
Yeah. Otterin saying I should sell it and get another Hadel. I'll preface this by saying we were literally talking before this show about how we both had one. It's just weird because like I feel like I have a few cards in my gallery and less ones like Maximiano and more ones like Bailey, where it's like I just have to, or Almendra, where I'm like just waiting for something to happen. Whereas like this has happened, and yet I still think I'm holding on to it. And I think everyone who has held on to Julian Alvarez is thinking the same thing right now. That like you have this card that's worth a lot of money, but it could be worth a lot more. And then I don't know, like
I think that's a great example. Spider-Man. I mean, I have one, you have one. What are we doing, man? What's the play here?
So this is what the worst thing was about Alvarez is the play was always to sell him. Like as soon as the deal was basically done that he was going to Man City, it was like we should sell. So the follow up to that is like, do you want to hold on to him while he's still at River? Because like we knew he was going to like stay for a little bit longer, and there was all this like confusion about like whether he was going to stay through Copa or if he was going to leave after the round of 16. Was he going to stay all the way to December regardless? And then it became clear like he was going to leave in July as soon as they got to the round of 16, which they didn't get through. But like in July he was going to stay, and I kept holding on to him because I was like, I need him for U23. Like I was holding on to him, thinking to myself, I'm just like taking this one to the grave, and I'll just like ride it until it's zero. The thing is that because I tend to like price things in ETH, the price keeps going up, and like this chart of the prices going down means nothing to me. Basically nothing. Mostly because I bought this card a long time ago. Like this is my.
So I think both you and I got him early-esque. A really good discussion here is Predictology just won one. Like, what does he do? That's a lot. I feel like that's a different situation for him than us, right?
Yes. So I believe I talked about this with PSU fans too, who was telling me to sell Alvarez for a while and then said the opposite and was like, actually, I think you should hold on to him because, and the upside of Alvarez was never in question. Like if you have a U23 forward who like somehow becomes a locked in starter for Manchester City, like that's a huge card to have. Like he's arguably one of the best U23 forwards on the platform. Like one of his teammates is the other one. And so the upside is absurdly high for somebody like Alvarez. But we were also thinking like the downside isn't that low either. Like realistically, if he's not playing, he probably still doesn't drop below 0.8, let's call it. And I think part of it is that I don't think anybody's really selling at that point. I mean, there'll be some movement, but so it's like, are you willing to take some downside with, I'm not going to call it infinite upside, but it's high.
What is the upside? Like 5x?
Why not? I mean, realistically, like you're playing him in U23. And so when you're playing him in U23, it's like the fact that he plays for Man City is only more about like his opportunities and less that he's like a champion Europe option. But if Erling Haaland is hurt or they figure out how to play both of them together and it just works, and so we know every week that Alvarez is going to play and he just starts banging goals in, like could he be a 4 ETH player? If Jota's not actually, well, is he 5.5? No, he was like almost 4 basically. I'm not even going to count Mbappe. And Haaland's probably what, like 9? But like, are there any other U23 forwards you want other than a locked in Man City forward who's a U23?
Seems good.
Seems good, right? I think, yeah, I don't know. So like that's the problem, is that I was like, all right, I'll hold on to it. And I have been lucky enough to win some cards that are in this situation where the prices have gotten very high for my my gallery, meaning like they're starting to like not make me nervous, but they take up a decent amount of my gallery. But they also still have upside. Like Luis Diaz is that example. Like I won Luis Diaz like almost a year ago as a T1 challenger, I think, reward. and he's like 1.9 ETH now. But if he is, like locked in for Liverpool and they're scoring goals like they have been, do I give up that upside? That's like, I don't know what the upside is for there. What is it, U23? Like, I don't even play. I don't even play Champion Europe, and yet I'm like wondering how much I can get for this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that you said it best. I mean, the easy thing to do is just wait and see. I mean, the downside is not huge. I don't see him dropping, like you said, below 0.8. Even if it's 0.6, okay. I don't know. I just feel like the upside's too high, and it's a card that I'm stashing. But it all comes down to like your risk tolerance and your ability to stash a card like that. I can. Other people might not be able to. They might need the 1 point whatever ETH now to go play with.
I don't even wonder if it's like risk tolerance so much as like patience tolerance.
I feel like there's risk there.
I mean, there's definitely risk, but I don't think that's what you're actually like. I think what you have to consider more is just like, am I okay sitting on a 1.5 ETH card that I'm not doing anything with?
Yeah, I mean, if he just goes there and doesn't play at all, though, that's, I guess, the risk, and then it's a 0.8 card or whatever.
Yeah, well, so the example that Sean gave me when he went from you should definitely sell that card to you should probably hold on to it was like, if there is an early season game where he just like explodes, like he has 4 goals, like we know him, the guy like can put up some and granted
he scored 6 in one of those games. Right? What did 6?
He scored enough goals where we were wondering, I don't want to give too much away about behind the curtain of Sorare data, but we weren't sure if we allowed 6 decisives to show up on the app.
Yeah, I remember it kind of bugged out a little bit, like it was overlapping on the app. It was overlapping like the other team's name or something.
That's exactly what it was. Like, not only that, he had a 30 all around in that game. So I'm also here to talk about uncapped scoring. I'd prefer that on games that Julian Alvarez plays. But look how many hundreds this is, and now he's going to arguably a better team. Like, the idea that he could have a 6 is absurd, but like a hat trick within the first month of the season is not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens,
everybody will be aping in.
Yeah, like totally. It'll be much more dramatic for limiteds because everything is. But like, how do you not like really try to get one if he has a game like that? And the odds are extremely low that he has that game and he's in one of our lineups. Yeah. So he's just like training lineup number 7 is now getting maximum XP points because of Alvarez's 100, and we're just left there with nothing. So like, that's literally the waiting is not easy that I was referring to.
Yeah, I'm curious now what Predictology is planning on doing. He's in chat. I would love him just to mention what he wants to do.
I feel like we went through everything that you consider. I was in a bit of a conversation with Predictology earlier today about this card, and it's kind of like the upside of Alvarez. Like, realistically, he should probably sell this card. He actually sold his gallery recently, and like reinvested, and has like been great. Like, he did it so well and has had a lot of success. So congratulations there. So now we have HG and Cosmo, wanted by Julian Alvarez. So so he's like, his gallery is not super deep. So it's like really tough to like want to hold on to a card that you're not going to use. But we just went through it. Like, the upside is really high and the downside is like not that bad. Like, if it goes down to 0.8, like that sucks. But I also kind of look at it as like, well, it's a reward. And so yes, you paid to like get the cards to get it, but like there was no like ETH outlay specifically to get that card, and so the loss. Oh, that was the number one. Like the loss is like not that bad.
I feel like I should go buy one of the limiteds now.
What are the limiteds at? Well, let's see. What was the last 4 days ago? The last 1.729 ETH, which is $2,100 on the dot. And what did the limiteds go for? 254 is the floor for the old card. 281 for the new. The older one is not even the rookie.
Oh, the new one will get to keep that 5% bonus an extra year, won't it?
So it's funny you say that. He is on the Argentina national team.
Right.
So if they mint 2022 Argentina card, or 2020, well, maybe they are 2022 because River Plate was 2020.
They would be.
Would they be? No, that's a good point. I don't know. I bet they haven't thought of that. I can't think of another example of that happening, though. Does anyone know of any like club cards that somebody had, and then the following year?
Because they'll instead of being 2022 cards, they'll be 22/23 cards.
I would expect the next ones to be 22 23s, but like River Plate's a single calendar year card.
Right. Weird.
But again, if you're looking at the older limiteds, those are technically the first Alvarez limiteds, but he was on the platform earlier, and so the 20, what is that? 1920, or is this 2021? 2021. This is his, if you want to call it first ones on the platform rookie cards, there's his rookie. That's one of the ones I have. HG said he thinks that's still 2022.
I don't know. Sounds like a glitch in the Matrix to me.
Oh, Havertz is an interesting one. Don't you have one of those?
I do. I've got a couple Havertz.
Yeah. Speaking of waiting, does he still have the bonus?
Like
does Germany card have the bonus?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I guess Charlie's saying they would both keep the XP because it's this year's card.
So the new Argentina cards would keep the bonus as well, unless they made new Argentina cards the next year as well.
That I don't know.
Didn't they say that was a multi-year agreement?
It is a multi-year agreement, yes. So we're gonna get like Copa America cards or cards during Copa America.
I don't know. I guess. I mean, they could be useful for a number of reasons for rewards during that time frame, because rewards are always terrible during those international breaks. But if they get enough of these cards, maybe they can actually give out decent rewards.
I hope so. We got no national team cards during the last international break. Somebody mentioned on Twitter that they thought there was a maximum number of national team cards they could put out for the players who have club cards. Meaning, like, if you had 100 Joshua Kimmich rares, you can only have a certain number of them be Germany as opposed to Bayern. And then maybe they hit the max of the national team cards already. I don't know. But those Argentina cards are going to be so cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Messi unique will be an Argentina card? I'm guessing they can't do that, but I think it would be really cool.
Yeah, I don't imagine they can do it now that they've already minted the PSG one.
Well, I'm just saying for like if the PSG one they minted was 2021.
Oh, was it?
They haven't gotten this season, like the new season.
I mean, do you think that the clubs have any say? It can dictate, what they meant, what they don't meant?
I would guess that the revenue share agreement makes it tricky to do unique national team cards if there's a club card.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know.
That's literally the most expensive Messi card they will sell. And it's tough. Like, it's tough to be like, oh, sorry, PSG, we we're not going to pay you anything because we made the Argentina card.
Yeah.
Not that they need the money, but still.
My guess is it's probably not written in the agreement anywhere, and they can do whatever they want.
I don't know. But yeah, those. I wasn't expecting to get to Julian Alvarez this quickly, but I feel like we've convinced the entire chat to go buy one.
Yeah. I've got a tab pulled open, and I'll be watching his auctions because they're still auctioning him.
Oh, really?
I mean, I think I saw there was a limited auction out there.
I wonder. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know what those rules are.
Yeah, I don't know either. That feels like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're using Opta data to determine like where he plays and whether to mint the card. Maybe they minted it 6 days ago or something before the move was official. I don't know. That move's been official for a while, it seems like, though. So,
well, they definitely moved him to Man City because he wasn't showing up in America tournaments. Like when he was still playing for River Plate, they moved him to Man City, and then you couldn't play him for like the Copa matches. Sorare has him as a Manchester City player, like on the site, which, well, I don't know. Not something we have to deal with.
I've got a fun one for kind of the topic. Waiting is not easy. St. Louis City.
Oh.
So, and there's a couple other guys from St. Louis that are kind of buying up these St. Louis players that are like on weird relegated German teams, and Roman Berkey's a really good example. But Berkey, the thing that sucks about Berkey is he's expensive.
Yeah, that's
for the guy that's not playing for another 7 months or whatever, 6 months. No, 8 months, 7-8 months, something like that.
Yeah, so this is going to be a while.
People are just sitting on these cards, and they're posting his floor at like 0.6, 0.7, and it's just like, I don't feel like I'm gonna get one for a long while.
So for those of you who don't know, St. Louis City is going to join Major League Soccer next season, but they've already been signing players, and you have some too, don't you?
Yeah, like I've collected a whole bunch. I even bought a Berkey limited, but there's certain ones that are harder to get than others, I guess. They're going to be impossible.
They probably don't even show up as Champion America. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be impossible to find them there.
Yeah. And yeah, so there are cards of like some of the players, but they're literally useless until like next February or March when MLS starts up again.
And I guess people are pretty wise, and they know where these guys are going and whatnot. But yeah, it just stinks that they're.
Yeah,
I don't know, like especially Berkey, because I would like to get a limited and a super rare of him, but I don't know at this rate. There was a super rare auction of his, but it was like 3 a.m. or something, and I didn't end up either. I didn't wake up or whatever. And then the one that kills me the most is it was Joachim Nielsen. They auctioned off his unique when I think he had the red X on his card.
No.
And I was like, I'm getting this card. It's Joakim.
Okay. There he is.
And it went for underneath, but my alarm went off. I woke up like 5 minutes too early for the unique auction, and then I fell back asleep. And it went for 0.7 ETH, and I was just like, I would have been happy to sit on that card.
I'm pretty sure I won him and sold him a limited. Didn't I give it to you?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
I think we traded him. Yeah. Yeah, and he put up pretty decent numbers for being in like the worst team in Germany.
There it is. You actually bought it from me?
Yeah, I think you tried to give him to me, and I was like, no, I will pay whatever his floor price is, which
Yeah.
is $12 at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems about right. Oops. Yeah. You're a stand-up guy, Andy Black.
Mm-hmm.
God knows what I did with that money. Jared's asking if you would trade 20 Fred limiteds for a Berkey.
A Berkey rare. Ooh, we'll have to have a discussion about that. Are they going to trade players away before they even get going, like Charlotte did? I hope not. Hope not. But I think that there's some weird stuff that goes on. Like they can't sign like MLS players until the end of this MLS season, so that's why all their signings right now are overseas players, international type players. And then as soon as probably end of November or whenever MLS Cup ends, that's when they'll start looking at guys with contracts that have expired or whatever, and then probably making tam whatever deals for players. I don't even know how all those rules work, but
international roster spots and
whatever.
What is your plan for Fred Emmings here? Speaking of waiting,
great question. Just to sit and wait.
Yeah, for those of you who are listening, Andy has, what is the count here, Andy?
Like 55 Freds.
55 Fred Emmings cards of assorted scarcities. Do you have a super rare? You have.
No, I don't.
No.
None of them have like ever. All of them are like overpriced. So it's Fred season and limiteds only.
No, not you have some rares.
Oh yeah, a couple of rares.
A couple of rares. So Fred Emmings, for those of you who don't know, is an 18-year-old. I don't even want to call him a backup goalkeeper for Minnesota United because he doesn't make the bench. But one day he
starts.
will.
He starts.
Minnesota he starts 2. For who do they play? Who's their
Minnesota 2?
Minnesota 2. Tug says that's my point. You're waiting on Fred, but not Berkey.
Well, I mean, he's got 7 years of U23 eligibility here. Okay, maybe 6.
6, yeah. Time's running out. Oh,
I don't know.
I'm sure Mark would trade you.
My thought process here is, he's a giant. He's like 6'5".
He is big.
He's 18 years old. And I had a little bit of ETH to just like kind of throw. And those limiteds are so cheap, 15 to $20 a pop. I'm happy to sit on some of these cards for a long, long time. And if he ever does become a starting goalkeeper next season or the year after, he's not going to be worth $15 to $20 anymore.
Right.
So
let's hope not, at least. Everything went wrong if that happened. Little Lettuce 21 in chat here said you bought their Emmings a few weeks ago.
If you got any more, I'll buy them.
What's the... Oh, wait. Where it was this one. Are there some available? Some limiteds? I mean, sure.
They're always available, yeah.
It's an incredibly liquid market for like a player. Like Surface just bought another one.
Yeah.
Maximiano's on them. Oh, Wen Moon.
I think people like think that I know something or I don't. There's no news.
So
it's not like he's like, he's got 10 clean sheets in a row and at Minnesota 2 and they're thinking about calling him up. There's nothing like that. I think he's got a concussion right now and he hasn't started like the last 2 games or something.
It's funny that you say that because one of the new things that we came out with today were these manager watch lists where you can see like the most recent transactions that people had. And I think if anyone has you on a watch list, they would definitely think you know something.
Yeah, well, I don't. In fact, some of the later buys, I'll admit this to Mike Baston because he kind of jokingly mentioned it. But some of the later buys were to get over the 50 hump, so that I got the achievement and the Sorare achievement. That
is it really like 50 of one player?
Yeah, and then it was 100 of one nationality, and he got me to 100 American players. So
Why would they have an achievement of 50 of one player?
So that somebody will go do something stupid like this and buy 50 Fred innings.
I mean, is that really one? 50 of one player?
I'm pretty sure that was it. I can go confirm that.
It's not that I doubt it.
50 cards from the same club is one of them.
Okay.
Collect 100 different players with the same nationality. Let me claim that 9,000 points.
There you go.
And no, your biggest fan was collect 25 cards of the same player from the market. So
25.
Biggest fan was 25.
Well, there's also the childhood club, 25 from the same club.
Well, I got up to 50. I have the 3 stars version of that.
Oh, so when you make 25, it goes to 50?
Yeah.
Huh. That happened to me on something recently. Was it I forget what it was, but I was like, I got the achievement and then it like doubled it for the next one. I'm like, just got here.
Yeah.
I don't need more work.
I do think that they can do so much cool, and I won't even go down that rabbit hole of like cool stuff that they can do with the store or whatever. But I'm hoping that that's not just. I'm hoping they're not done improving that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And by improving, you mean like announcing it once and then not touching it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Waiting is not easy. Let's talk about injured players. Somebody like Florian Wirtz, or like, would you buy? Like, I've seen his prices. I don't feel like I would buy him right now because, like, I don't think that there's that deep of a discount on him yet. But there's a lot of guys where I don't know. Maybe they have a long-term injury and there's an opportunity at some point to buy them.
So I do want to talk about Wirtz though, because somebody commented on our video with Sam Ty, because we talked about Wirtz, about how Sam was like, oh, I wanted to buy one. And I was like, oh, he's hurt. And I'll get a cheap one because he's hurt. And it's like that just, it didn't really happen that much. Like we did see a drop, obviously.
Turns out the best time to maybe buy him was right after he got hurt.
Yes.
And crazy to think about because I'll bet the people selling him were like, you didn't know. But
so the comment that made me like really question this was somebody was like, it's the price drop was crazy because he's so young. Like he's still 19. And they were like, he was only going to miss like 25 games. And I'm like, no. He had an torn ACL. He's going to miss way more than that. Andy, he has so far, what is this? Is this January? I don't even know. Yeah, so in the past year, but like he's only missed like 14 games. And that includes like he's basically missed 9 at the end of last season. He's got all summer to like recover. I don't know when he's supposed to come back anyway. But like I know that like he's not going to the World Cup because they were like he's not going to play enough before the World Cup to like really be ready. But it's possible that he could
be back by February or something.
No, I think he could be back like before the World Cup, just not like World Cup fit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if he's like 100% back, like after the winter break, like he's missing, let's call it 40 games. Like that huge price drop for a 19-year-old kid who misses like 40 games, like one season basically. And that even seems high. Oh, Thomas Schuster here said he's already in the training camp. And it's like, somebody was like, he's going to miss 25 games. And I was like, no. And then I like look back and I'm like, oh my God, he might just miss 25 games. Just because like the timing of it. No wonder the price has gone up. And I will say that I think people have immediate like short-term injury pessimism becomes extreme optimism really fast.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, and it's like crazy stuff like, oh, he had like an ankle injury once and they said he was going to be out for a month and he was back in like 26 days. So he like recovers fast, which makes no sense because it's completely unrelated and it's barely anything. But I mean, we see the prices like if you want a Florian Wirtz right now, you're gonna have to pay like 3.5 ETH.
Yeah, he did it in, it looks like middle of March maybe, and I mean realistically, I think you're looking at like 8 months before guys match fit.
It was middle of March. Yeah,
I mean, I think that there's times where guys come back faster, but I don't know, an injury like that, it's really hard to say.
Yep.
And then also like actually trusting your knee
Yeah.
and cutting and being able to play on it. I mean, we kind of saw that with Joseph and Jordan Morris in the MLS, where they came back, they competed, but there was a bit of time there before they were like really trustworthy of that horrible body part.
That horrible body part.
Yeah. It's like the worst designed body part on the body.
The ACL?
Yeah. The knee.
Oh, just the knee all together.
Yeah. The whole knee.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Terrible design.
You didn't happen to have a bunch of JMO and Josef Martinez cards, did you?
I might.
Right. Quinny, who is somehow still awake, brought up our boy Gio Reyna. Who is another good example of...
He's a hurt boy. He's always hurt.
But, I mean, I guess his price went from 1 ETH to like, what is this bottom here? 0.52 for the rares. I'm assuming the limiteds moved a little. But like, the limiteds are back to like where he was. And obviously this is ETH, so maybe it's... everything's down. That's actually pretty steady. I don't know. I don't own Arena though.
I think I have a limited. I don't even know, but I don't know when I would ever play him.
It's a tough card to play.
He never seems healthy. I don't know.
Even if he is though, is he good enough for like U23?
Yeah, I don't think so. Like his best scores. Yeah.
The old
he did it once.
Freiburg.
Yeah. There's just not enough green there. And at the time he was probably 17 years old or something.
Yeah. Scosmo has a great one here. Federico Chiesa. So Chiesa lost
U23.
U23 expired while he was hurt, which is just such a killer. But let's see. When did he get hurt? This will help. Game week 234, so beginning of January, basically.
So he'll be back before. Theoretically, he's back before Wirtz.
Right. So his rares went from 0.7 to 0.5 immediately, and then tricked back up to 0.94 like a month later. That's wild.
It is, and. Yeah, I always like to look at the fiat conversion, because you never really know like where the values changed.
Yeah, so we're certainly not back fiat wise, although I don't think any of us are in the same fiat spot as we were back then.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a really good one, because I think the problem is with a lot of these elite players, like the people who, unless you have like a gigantic gallery, it's really tough to sit on these guys for long term. But I do think that the immediate, that just went down. 0.7, 0.7. I mean, these are all within like 2 days. 0.6, 0.575. And then a month later, it was 0.7.
I got another one for you to discuss.
Yeah.
What do I do with David Ochoa?
Oh, man. I mean, selling him now seems crazy. What was his last sale? 0.77 in an auction. So nobody's. The thing is, nobody's selling. Oh, there's one sale.
Is he even starting for Real Monarchs? Is he just not with the camp at all?
Does it matter?
Well, like if he's playing with Real Monarchs, there's some at least the club is wanting to keep him fresh and playing. But if he's not even reporting there, then
I had definitely seen at least a tweet somewhere that he was like starting for them, but I don't know. Like, is he on the bench?
He's not even he's not on the bench for any of the Salt
Yeah,
Lake
he's just
games.
straight out. One appearance on the bench, and yeah, like literally nothing. God, that is awful.
Yeah, and I don't think he's even starting for Monarchs. I think he probably wants to transfer this summer, and if they don't give it to him, his contract expires in January.
Yeah,
So
it's such a tremendous waste to hold on to him.
So he's gone on a free, and I don't
Yeah.
think. I think RSL has to move him now, or else they look incredibly stupid.
Yeah. The only problem with him is that I don't think he's good enough to guarantee a starting job if he like went to Europe.
Oh, definitely not in Europe.
So
I was thinking more like MX.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the rumor at one point was that he was going to go to San Luis.
Yeah.
And then which I think they're affiliated with some club in Europe. I don't remember who it was.
No, great.
But he was going to play at San Luis and get playing time there, and then hopefully at some point make the jump. But yeah, I think he wants to play in Europe. I think it would be a big mistake for his career to go to Europe. And my gallery.
Yeah, I mean, limited fiat. It doesn't get. I don't think it's ever been lower.
Yeah.
Other than that small little blip back in end of August.
So we're buying them, right?
I just swept the floor.
Yeah.
No, I actually just don't think he's very good. That's why.
Is that a mustache?
No.
Okay.
It's not. It's just facial hair. But no. It is if you get rid of this.
I think he's fine. He's a goalie. You know, he's 21. He's a goalie. He's a good shot stopper, terrible with his feet. Can't distribute the ball.
He's really bad with his feet, which is like, I feel like, important now. What were his scores like? Yeah, he was always just woofing the ball forward, right? Like they
didn't play out of the back, which meant it always just killed his AA.
Right. Like he scored over. Oh my God. He scored over 69 once.
Yeah.
What did he even do? How did he have 35?
He had a PK save. I remember I watched that game because I had him in a real spicy lineup.
Wow, that wasn't even in a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Man, I just love being able to pull this stuff up immediately.
By the way, the new PK save logo is pretty cool. But
isn't that cool?
Why didn't you move the PK save logo onto like when you click on the score, click on David Ochoa? Why don't I get the little divey guy next to the penalty save?
Oh yeah, you're right. Noted. We'll fix that. So 8 saves in this game, but like no smothers, no sweepers.
Yeah.
Can't even claim a cross. But he had a bunch of saves.
Might have claimed a cross. Oh wait, no. You're right. Cross not claimed.
No,
cross not claimed.
Oh, that's right. That's a negative. Right. So he claimed. Yeah. He must have claimed the crosses.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had 2 good high claims.
Right. Yeah, it's a great game.
I've got a couple other guys that I've made notes on that I don't know that much about, but are interesting situations.
What you got?
There's a U23 goalkeeper that played for Shakhtar named Anatoly
Trubin.
I imagine there's not a Ukrainian league this fall, or there is. I don't know.
Well, it's not. Opta's not doing anything, so.
Right, but my opinion is if there's no league, he's going to move somewhere.
It sounds like he's going to move. I think that's why his price has moved up.
Gotcha.
But that he would definitely qualify for the way too cheap if he gets a move. And so,
but he's not guaranteed to start somewhere, right?
I don't see anybody buying him to not start him. And so I think it's a reasonable risk. The problem is the downside's really bad. Like the downside is you have nothing.
Yeah.
He's still super young though.
Right.
Like I'm not sure there's a huge difference between Trubin and Ochoa.
What do you mean?
Like,
it's I guess similar situations. He may have a team, may not have a team. He needs to
right.
move. You don't know where he's going.
Right.
Yeah.
Quinny said Trubin's a starter, and has Salzburg written all over him. Except Salzburg already has 2 goalies that they have that they need to figure out. But like, yeah, I think it goes to like just remind us that if you are under 23 years old and you start, you're worth at least an ETH.
Yeah. Crazy.
Which is like at least, what is that now, $75? That is a really good example. It also seems like there are a lot of his cards. Well, I guess they just keep minting them despite like nobody being able to play them.
Yeah.
Is anyone buying? Yeah, we had 5 rare purchases in the last week. Pavel got one and then flipped immediately, like he always is able to do. Another topic for another time, but
Pavel always wins.
Not so much that, but I had, look at this one.
It's a broken card, huh?
What do you mean broken? Not broken, just see-through.
Looks broken to me.
I do love these cards, though. Unfortunately, there's too many of them now. Mike Batson did make the point. Trubin is more of a starter at another European team than Ochoa. Absolutely fair point there.
Yeah. But Trubin's also not rumored to go to MX or anything like that. Like, I think Ochoa and MX would be like ideal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That would be a good move for him. Yeah, these are kind of. Now I'm like, should I buy one of these? No, I shouldn't. Trubin to Monza, anyone? I like that, Mike. Remember we joked about Monza, and here we are.
Yep.
Looking for Champion Europe stacks now.
I guess we're going to get a full slate of Monza cards this year, as long as they still have them licensed.
Did we not get a full season?
Well, I mean, didn't they stop minting them?
Did they?
I mean, there's just not a ton of them. And probably half these guys don't even play on the team anymore. Like, they're going to be buying new players to try to stay in Serie A.
How many cards of Giulio Donati did we get? 2 rares. Okay. Maybe he was a short. Although he looks like he plays every game. I guess they didn't. I guess they stopped. Recognized their mistake.
I guess. I don't know.
Gianluca
I thought it was fine.
Was rumored there.
I mean, it was fine for them to do that.
Yeah, I was fine with it. Yeah. Was there anyone else that we had? You said you had another one, or was that?
Yeah. What should I do with Brian Lozano?
Ooh. You're dead now.
I sold a couple on the way down, but now is the beginning of the waiting period. He's gone to the Uruguay League. He signed with, can't remember the team's name. It's his home team though, that he grew up in that town or whatever. Went back there for personal reasons. Basically, wanted out of Santos.
Why?
I honestly, I think he's kind of a toxic egg.
Oh, really?
And, I think they wanted. He got kind of ran out, I think. So it's at the very beginning point of him going to an uncovered league. Is the play to sell him right away, or is the play to hold and wait until they cover the Uruguay league?
Right. I don't think you can rule out that they cover it. I don't know anything about whether Opta covers it, but given the push that we've seen into leagues from Chile and Peru, it's got to be on the list. Like they play, don't they play in Copa Libertadores? The league can qualify for it.
Yeah, and I think that the team he's on is pretty decent.
Yeah. It sounds like a gas station, doesn't it? Peñarol, Peñarol.
Yeah.
Is there an Enye? I don't know. Yeah. You know what your problem was? You had
What's
too
that?
many of them.
No, I don't think so.
Well, how many did you sell?
2.
2 rares?
Rare and a limited.
And what do you have left?
I think 3 rares, a super rare, and a limited.
It kind of sounds like you had too many of them.
I guess I'm just sitting on them.
Oh, Mike McGovern said Facundo Torres just came from there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Maybe he'll find the fountain of youth and come back.
Maybe. Torres has been great at Orlando.
Mm-hmm. I sold that one too early.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Sure did. I actually traded it, I believe. But I don't remember who I... Oh, no, he wasn't in the Hulk deal. Sebastian Villa? I don't know. So it's too late now, right? To sell them?
I mean, I think so.
You don't need the specs of ETH that you're going to get for these cards.
Go to the rare and see what the floor is real quick. It'd be like 0.04, I'm guessing, or 0.03 maybe.
0.048 is the floor right now, but last sale was 0.032.
But what's the upside of holding? I mean, it's a 1-year loan with an option to buy. It's a 1-year loan with an option to buy.
Okay.
They're probably going to buy him, would be my guess.
Unless he's like really bad.
Yeah, or just really toxic.
Right. Do you hope for that so that he goes back to Mexico?
I don't know. Probably not.
When is his contract up? Next June?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's I mean, the upside feels similar to Alvaro Medran. That the upside is that they cover the league, and he's just smashing it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you have this Champion America cheat code.
Yeah. I think you're right. That upside alone is worth more than 0.1 ETH that I'm going to scrape out of the sales.
Right.
So I got to sit back, be pal trader for a moment, and just sit and wait until I win.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people are really asking for the Saudi League, which is really funny.
People aren't asking for the Saudi League because they're interested in it in any way. But just so many cards have gone there to die.
Right. Yeah.
As Mike said, never sell.
Yeah. Been hanging
wise
with Jimmer.
Words that I've heard one time before, I think.
I think Jimmer has that tattoo on his bicep. The Gulf took 2 of my goalkeepers this window, says Quinny. Ugh. Nobody needs that. All right. I think we did pretty well there. Thank you to everybody who has joined us live. It's, to be honest, at the beginning when I was like, this is really late for all these Europeans, and then all of a sudden the chat was just packed with them. So really appreciate you guys participating. As always, it helps our conversation become a little more focused, which is funny since Andy and I are very good at never staying on topic. Although I feel like we did it pretty well today. Not going to lie. We pat ourselves on the back there for that one. If you guys are watching the replay and haven't hit the like button yet, if you could please do that. And anybody who's listening to the audio version, if you could please rate and review it. I'll be back later this week with Sean for the Sorare Data Strategy Show on Friday. And then there may be some changes next week. I don't know if we want to announce that at all. Not actual changes, but we'll see. There might be some pure shenanigans going on next week or not. We'll see. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. And Andy, good luck this week.